You don't speak German?
No, still don't. Still, so if I go today, I'll still be like, oh,
Nine.
right.
When did you kind of start gigging and breaking out of the kind of church gospel scene?
Well, I got my first call. Well, like I said, the church was basically all the training I ever got for anything. The first call I got was overseas to do a gospel choir in Germany. So that was like my first ever anything.
Yeah.
It was a gospel choir overseas, Switzerland, Germany.
German choir or coming from the States?
No, coming from the States.
Okay.
They did like a
tour.
2-month tour over there.
Nice.
No, it was 2 weeks maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. It's so long ago. But it was a certain amount of time, overseas, and it was like, oh wow, so.
Was that kind of eye-opening? Or?
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was my first time ever even experiencing a different country or even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't speak German?
No. Still don't. Still, so if I go today, I'll still be like, oh.
Nine.
Right.
But it's a cool place, like Germany, Switzerland, that area is.
Very nice.
I did some tours over there as well, and everything was always like, it's kind of stereotypical, but in my experience, it's true. Like it's always well set up, well run. Things just are the way it should be.
Right.
You know?
Right. Clean. Yeah. I like it.
Cool. So you're like, is that when you kind of started to think? Did you have a job? Or were you thinking like maybe I could do this full time? I mean,
I would have a job. I would every once in a while, like when I'm home, when I'm not doing those things, I would be home like, man, I want a job. No, I don't. I never wanted a job, but I needed to make money at some point. So I always would try to like get a job, and I'd never keep one, man.
Yeah.
I just could never. I just knew it wasn't in me to.
Because nothing's as good as this, right?
It was nothing in like even before I knew like this was what I wanted to do, was gonna do, like, or it was gonna be a career like that. I just knew the job wasn't. The job wasn't. So, yeah, man, I could never keep one. I would try though. I would try, but
just like hospitality stuff, or like
Man, a couple of things. I used to work at fast food. I worked at McDonald's or Arby's, some health club one time. I worked at Home Depot. Like I would just try to make it work because I needed to make ends meet.
I also think it's good for people to do those jobs because you appreciate when you go into these places and you're getting service or whatever, you're trying to find the wrench that you need.
Right.
Like I think you have a better understanding of the people who are working there.
Definitely.
And maybe a bit more respect.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes people can treat the people in the service industry and stuff not quite as how they should be.
Right.
For whatever reasons. And plus, it makes you appreciate this much more.
Right.
When you're not having to flip burgers for $2 an hour or whatever.
Definitely.
You're like
Definitely.
playing bass, and
right.
glad I don't have to do that.
Yeah, man. It's a complete different world. Different world. Yeah.
It is interesting, the proliferation of church and gospel players in today's modern pop music scene.
Right.
Like, I mean, you're saying Adam Blackstone, like,
yeah, man.
He's got some of the biggest gigs in the world.
Right.
Justin Timberlake. And
right, man. He's a phenomenal person, man. Phenomenal bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam Goucher.
Oh, yeah.
Chaka Khan and Prince.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, there's definitely something in that church education that serves you well for
absolutely
for doing the non-church gigs. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I think just the awareness alone, just being aware of like atmospheres and being aware of like feelings, like when something's supposed to be soft, you learn that in church. You know what I mean? You learn like, okay, this is a soft song, I should play like a little. You just like little stuff like that. It just comes automatically. So when you get on like a stage like that and the artist feels like he wants to feel like a certain mood, you kind of get it a little bit. You already have like a advantage because you understand feeling and just by playing church.
That makes sense.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying that people don't grow up in that, because of course everybody can sense it, but yeah, I guess that's our view on that. I guess you can say, yeah.
And Philly's pretty well known as a bit of a music city as well. So were you going out and checking gigs and clubs and stuff around town?
When I first moved in that area, I would almost every chance I got, I would be out there. Not even to play half the time. Sometime I would be playing, but Sometimes I just wanted to, hear, wanted to, do. And
yeah, I mean, it's
see.
a pretty well-known kind of funk, hip-hop scene, would that be right?
And jazz even now.
Jazz.
Yeah. It's a nice jazz scene there. Yeah. Matter of fact, I have a jazz band. His trumpet player in Eric's band has a jazz band. His band is amazing, man.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of jazz are we talking about here?
So mine is like more like fusion-y type of
grooves.
Yeah, grooves, fusion. And I'm influenced by Jimmy Haslip and the Yellow Jackets all day. So I have a song called Blue Jackets. One of the songs called Blue Jackets. And none of that stuff is recorded, but something else I have to put out at some point. But
Blue Jackets. And so you kind of playing melodies on the bass? Or
not really. A lot of it's just music. Music. I approach music not a lot of times when I approach music, I guess in my career, I don't think it much from a bass perspective.
Okay.
Just because I guess because I played drums and played keys, I always seen it as a picture.
And
more
bass
of like
kind of fits in the middle.
Yeah, like so. I mean, and as a bass player, I hear grooves.
How old were you kind of when you were doing the after the Germany gospel thing?
How old was I? I think I was like 17, maybe.
It's pretty young.
Yeah, 17. Yeah.
And so when did the Musiq Soulchild thing happen?
I think that started happening like around 2003, 4.
Okay.
Around that time.
So a couple of years later.
Yeah. And I got graduated in 2002. And a couple of years later.
You graduated?
Yeah.
So you studied?
No, high school.
High school.
Just regular high school. No, I was just thinking of the year I graduated. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So you're leaving high school and then
So I leave high school and I'm still in Selbyville, Delaware, like near Maryland. And then a couple years later, my dad passed. He was bed rest. And my dad passed, and then, after a while, it was like, I wanted to really move on with my career, so I moved closer to Philadelphia, which is where I live now, Wilmington, Delaware. Like I said, I started connecting with people, and started getting calls. Man. But, Musiq Soulchild happened. Wayne Moore, he called me. He was playing for Gerald Levert. He had to leave Musiq Soulchild to play for Gerald Levert. And he was like, "Hey man, can you do these, a few gigs for me?" I was like, "Yes!" Like what? And I'm a young bull. I, did church tours, but I played in church all my life, so this was different for me. It's just like, oh shoot, this is like and I actually, like I said, I used to really listen to Musiq Soulchild. Like his first 2 albums were like was on my playlist all the time. So I really knew his music, and it was a good opportunity. And he got busy with Gerald Levert, and then So
what was that like? I mean, stepping onto that rehearsal stage or whatever the first time.
Man, it was.
Did you know the other guys in the band?
I did.
Okay, that helped.
I did, because they were from Delaware as well, except the guitar player. The guitar player was from Philadelphia, and so playing with him even was like, oh man, this is nice. Just playing with some cats I looked up to at the moment. And I still do look up to them. But just coming into that scene and just with people I knew and looked up to, it was nice. It was very nice.
So you're going on tour or kind of local dates? Like, what was the vibe?
I did one. Did I do a tour with him? I don't know if we toured. I think it was just a lot of spot dates. Yeah.
And so just that's the thing. Like, I mean, I got involved in a lot of stuff here in a similar way. It's just like a bass player that can't do a gig, and you go, "Hey man, can you do the gig?"
Right.
And you're like, "Yes, thank you."
Right.
And then once you get your foot in that door,
right,
you meet other doors. Kind of just seem to open, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But it's like, if it wasn't for that guy thinking of you and giving you the gig, things could be really different.
Right, man. The way life happens and just things happen, man, it's amazing. It's amazing how things happen and just how quick things can change in a person's life.
So, Musiq Soulchild, and then a couple of years on from there, you start to...
I got a call from Adam Blackstone to go to Japan with a guy named Mario Barrett. He's an artist out of Baltimore, and he's doing like a bunch of what do they call them? Jazz cafes in out there, and
like Blue Note stuff.
Yeah.